Hey, this is your boy Jay Steve from the Soul Fresh Podcast. And before we get started, make sure you go to YouTube, smash that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. Now that that's out the way, let's get it.
All right, welcome back to the Soul Fresh Podcast. I'm your host, BK.
And I'm your host, Jay Steve.
Jay Steve, what's going on?
Nothing much, brother. We back with another one. And we're going to be sitting down today with a young man. I like to call him young man, even though he doesn't think that way. But we're going to be sitting down with Mr. Larry Curtis, City Councilman of Post 6. And we're going to get into some questions and ask him some hard-hitting questions that deal with certain issues.
All right. Don't forget, Warner Robins, Georgia.
All day, every day.
Yeah, so we got Larry. We invited Larry to come in to go ahead and just talk about a few issues. As I always state, here at the Soul Fresh Podcast, we like to just try to educate and inform the community and just talk about issues, but also not just about talking, but we also like to try to see if we can discuss and come up with some type of solutions. But also, we just want to ask thought-provoking questions, so maybe listeners can also chime in and we can also come up to some type of resolution and to also build a better community. You know, we really about the community. Larry's about the community. I've been watching this brother for a long time, and he's serious about the community. I remember in an interview when he was running for city council, he stated, like, hey, this ain't nothing I wanted to do. It came to me. You know, and I believe he's passionate about Warner Robins, and like most folks who are from Warner Robins, and he kind of from the south side, but you know he rep a little bit of the north side, you know. But we're not gonna go into that where he actually from, you know. But so let's go ahead and bring Larry Curtis on to the Soul Fresh Podcast.
Yes, sir.
What's going on?
What's up, family? Yes, I am from the south side, but I will say I did move to the best side.
There you go.
That's what they all do. It seems like that's what they all do. Yeah. I was talking to a friend just real quick, off subject. It's like, you know what? A lot of them Warner Robins cats, they, for some reason, you know, they really lived on the north side, but they went to Warner Robins.
Exactly.
You know?
Their blood is blue.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute. Didn't you live over there in the States? And how you
like, I used to know you all the time. You was around the corner. I saw you at the stove.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So what's going on, man? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Not much, man. Just enjoying life, enjoying my family, just, you know, trying to do right by my community, make my community a better place. So, you know, just doing what I do, man. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about, we're going to start off with City Councilman.
Yes, sir.
Post 6. So that was a good win for you. And one of the things that I like about your whole race and your movement and what you got going on now, which I feel like you kind of got a little bit of responsibility for, is changing the diversity of the council.
Right.
You know, that the council is being diverse, and we're starting to see a little bit of change in Warner Robins, which is a good thing. I mean, we got like 3 of them, right? 3 city councilmen.
3 minority city
city councilmen, and of course, Black Mayor LaRhonda Patrick. So we keep shouting her out pretty much the last few podcasts. So tell us, how did that whole mission come about as far as you wanting to become a part of the city council?
Well, so, you know, it was time for change. You know, the council should represent the city. The city is majority minority,
right?
Truth be told.
Yeah,
so the council should actually represent that.
Exactly.
And it just happened. It was just nature taking its course.
And I see that Post 6 is that part of the area that me and BK grew up in, and a lot of us grew up in that area that we consider it's not being taken care of as well as it should. What type of talks or plans or anything like that have y'all discussed in trying to build that area back up the way I know you want to see it look and the way that we want to see it look, because it's so much blight?
Wait, now before you answer, I wanted him to go ahead and finish and touching on Post 6.
Okay,
So
I'm sorry.
For those that don't know, explain what Post 6 is.
So my area is a really diverse area. It's a big area. It's hard to explain. It's like the north side of Houston County, the Dunbar, Carl Vinson area, over to the MacArthur Boulevard,
right,
down to the Quarter Road, Coldwater Creek Apartments.
Like,
okay,
the foundation of Warner Robins.
Yes,
right.
pretty much. Post 6 and Post 5 is pretty much the foundation of Warner Robins. If you look at most of the major roads that come off the base of Green Street, Watson Boulevard, Alberta Road, all those are consisted of Post 5 and Post 6.
So basically, because when we had Mike Jones on, Shout out to Mike Jones.
Shout out Mike Jones.
Mike Jones.
Who? So I guess that's where that post 5 and post 6 is, that divide. Is Green Street, or because I noticed that post 5 has a little bit of a sewer circle, Johns Road and all that back there.
So post 5, post 6, we're like intertwined. Mm-hmm. So I could say, you can say Green Street. Green Street is a division point for it, because my post actually goes down to Green Street. We actually meet up. We bump heads at American Boulevard.
Okay.
And what's that, Nick's Drive?
Yeah.
So I actually have constituents on American Boulevard.
Okay.
On the front part of American Boulevard up there by Green Street, where the back of it is post 6 where Clifford Home is.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's why it's so funny that it just divides right there in between that little area.
Yeah. You gotta have that stopping point though.
Yeah, that's true. You gotta have that stopping point.
Yeah, but I ain't mean to cut you off.
No
so
problem.
You go ahead back with that question.
No
I was just trying to get him before he started explaining about the blight and
so
what
now
area,
that everyone knows
what area we're talking
what area
about.
we're really talking about. I understand. Mm-hmm. And like I was saying, back to that question, what are the plans or the talks or discussions that are being had to try and start elevating that area, those areas?
So there's always been talk and discussions. The problem is there's never been any action.
Right.
People do a lot of talking. If you know me, I don't talk about it. Let's be about it.
Right.
Right now we just elected a new mayor, so that transitional period is going on. So there's really not a whole lot going on with that right now. But I promise you, there will be a lot going on. From my personal perspective, I just feel like the first thing that we need to do is just clean up the area. We got to clean up the area. And like I said, that's going to consist of post 6 and part of my post. Just yesterday, I was at the Waffle House, and one of the city workers came in. They sat down with me. We were talking, and he was saying that he was over there on Evergreen, and they was cleaning up the sidewalk. He said only probably about a foot, maybe a half of a foot, maybe from half a foot to a foot of the sidewalk was visible and able to walk on.
Wow.
He said it hadn't been cleaned up in years. So things like that creates hazard. Look at all the citizens that walk down there. If they can't walk on the sidewalk, I mean, they're walking in the street.
Yep.
It's just an accident waiting to happen.
Okay. But not to do blame game, but where should that responsibility lie? Because, we got to look at the community as well. So is it a generational difference? Because it's different times now.
That responsibility lies on me and city council.
Okay.
And the mayor and the city of Warner Robins. Our job is to protect our citizens. And that's one of the issues that that really needs to be addressed. We have to go out and clean up the city. No, everybody's not going to call. Some people, they like to live in mess. That's just facts.
That's true.
You ride through the neighborhoods, you see junk cars and stuff like that. But us as the city, we need to realize that, hey, look, we got to go out there and we got to fix that. We got to take care of that. I don't know how many people know, but right here on Keith Drive, my uncle died from the West Nile virus.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, right on Keith Drive. And you ride down Keith Drive, my mom's house is on Keith Drive. I'm sorry. My mom's house is on King Drive. King Keith right there.
Yeah, it goes right across the Keith.
Right. So, but the problem is, you got not retention ponds, but you got drainage ditches back there. They don't get cleaned out. They get filled up with water and trash.
Which creates those water. Mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tires and cars. So we as a city, that's our responsibility. We should address that and deal with that and take care of those issues.
And so that's bringing more action or putting more responsibility, which is included in the city with code enforcement. And getting code enforcement to go around and do what they need to do, right?
Exactly, yes. That I really advocated for us to get more code enforcement officers, which we did. I think we hired 2 more officers, but I think we need more. And we need our code enforcement to be more proactive instead of reactive to situations.
Right, I saw you somewhere that you said with more code enforcement help and more backing, more funds for them, we could handle 50% of the problem just with that alone.
Yes, most definitely. Even if we, one of the things that I would like to see is where code enforcement would actually have like certain areas that they work, or certain zones. So, like I say, being more proactive and not reactive to situations.
Well, I understand that you say it's on you and city council and whatnot to what more can the community do, though? What more can other people that may not even live in those areas, what can other people do to come help and try and fix the issue for a place that they may, may not live anymore, but they may be from, such as me and him. We're from that area. What can we do to help, even though we don't live there anymore? But I always want to go home to where I'm from and still see it how I saw it growing up.
So, I'm a real estate guy. Mm-hmm. So I truly believe, just like you said, a lot of people that lived in those areas, they move away. Come back and invest in those areas. Come back and buy a blighted house. You could probably get a blighted house for like $15,000, $13,000.
Yeah.
Right.
And just be a voice, just speak up. And for the citizens that live in that area, speak up, say something. Mm-hmm. Pick up the phone, call me, hold me accountable. Make sure that I'm doing my job, what you elected me to do. Mm. And I mean, we all got to work together. At the end of the day, we got to work together. We got to communicate. We got to talk about it until we come up with the perfect solution to fix the problem.
And me and BK were just literally having a conversation on the way here about how sometimes we think part of the issue is these older houses that have been in families for generations and generations. Today's generation are not taking care of grandma and great grandma's houses, and they're not paying the property taxes, and they're letting it just get basically taken by the courts and just held up until somebody comes in, buys it for way less than what it's actually worth.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, that's part of the issue too, right?
That is most definitely part of the issue. We got to change our mindset, our way of thinking. We got to understand that people, a lot of time we want to spend money and on things that depreciate. Mm-hmm. A house is not gonna depreciate; it's gonna always appreciate. So go out, invest in those houses. Don't let grandmama's house get taken by somebody else.
Especially somebody else that don't look like you. A house that's been in the generation for, the family generation for years, and then now you don't let it go to somebody that don't look like you.
Right.
So
especially when you talking about the black family, you think about what my great grandmama helped raise me over there on Clay Street, South Side. Mm-hmm. But think about what she had to go through to get that.
To get that.
All the things the sacrifices that she had to make
during that time.
And now here we are, another generation. We just willing to throw it away for nothing.
Just let it go.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
But like I said, that's a mindset that we got to fix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when we're talking about, we're gonna go back to that. But I know you're big on real estate. So when we're talking about real estate, that's what one of the things me and my wife are interested in doing is buying property and trying to invest in real estate. But one of the challenges that I think that happens in those communities that are blighted and you trying to get those type of properties is, it's for a good price, but don't you sometimes face a challenge of having a lot of repairs and now your investment turns into $50,000 or $60,000? Mm-hmm. So you being in the real estate and having that experience, how do we combat that, or how do you deal with that?
So there's really not a comeback for it. A lot of time in those older neighborhoods in Warner Robins, you're gonna have to bring stuff up to code. So whether it's wiring, the water heater pressure, release valves, whatever. But at the end of the day, do it.
Yeah. Right.
Because when you're buying real estate, most people make the mistake because they do it as a business. It's not a business, it's an investment.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So it's not necessarily to benefit you and Miss Asia, but to benefit your children.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So even with me, I don't really talk a lot about what I got. But even with me now, the things that I got, my son, my daughters, they're the ones that's going to really benefit from it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I do good with it now. Lord knows I do real good with it. Right. But they're the one that's going to really, really benefit with it. That's why I said we got to change that mind state where it comes to letting grandmama house go to the other side.
Is it also a risk to investing in some of those houses because the area just around that house still may look so bad? At the same time, how do you combat that? If you know that you want to go back into that area and get this place, but you still want the area to look good.
That's when you pick up the phone, you call the city of Warner Robins and say, hey, look, what are y'all going to do about this? That's blight. That is blight. When you see trees overgrown, that's blight. When you see houses falling down, rotting, that's blight. That's where the city come in and say, hey, look, we need y'all to reinvest back into this area. And it's not necessarily reinvesting in the area. It's about just cleaning the area up. Like I say, that's my main thing. Let's just clean it up.
Right.
Yeah. So
And just get rid of the trash, basically.
get rid of the trash.
And so what about those older houses that nobody comes to claim or nobody invests in or tries to renovate? Do they just get left standing, or does the city come and knock them down, or do they find, some type of group home? Because I've seen a lot of, these places that have group homes and people that have special needs or things like that, they move them to some of these houses.
So most of the time they just stay empty and stay blighted. We as the city, we're not really doing a whole bunch with those houses. We really can't do a lot with those houses because they are privately owned. So we have to actually take those houses from people, and you know how that seems sometimes. Oh, you taking my house, you doing this. Yeah. But at some point in time, something has to be done. Think about it. You got an old abandoned house, a blighted house that nobody's claiming, nobody's doing nothing with it. You got meth heads, junkies, everybody living up in that house. Then you got little girls walking up and down the street, back and forth to school. Yeah. It's just a recipe for disaster. Right. So our job as the city is to protect our citizens. And if us tearing down that house is going to protect our citizens, that's something that we need to do. Or if us buying that house, selling it to you or you, and you go in there with the promise of, hey, we're going to fix it up, we're going to make it livable, presentable, then that's what we need to do.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what it sounds like you're saying, like in those type of houses, folks who not keeping up with it, I guess you call them slumlords, what can be done with them though? Like as far as, ticketing or type, getting charged with certain things as far as not keeping it up, or, what I kind of like, it's a love-hate relationship with like a HOA.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. I know you can't really put a HOA, implement that in certain communities, whatever. But it actually works. Yeah. Because you get that letter in the mail and it's like, hey, you got too many cars in the yard, or no grilling out in the front, or keep your grass cut.
Oh, I just found out about the HOAs too. You can't do an Airbnb in an HOA area.
In some HOAs, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the answer to that question is, again, the city needs to go in. A lot of time when you look into some of those older neighborhoods, most people can't afford to do the repairs. So I feel like the city should come out with some type of special grants or something, or no interest loans to give to those citizens in order to help get those repairs done. And a lot of times people don't realize this. A lot of people that own those houses, those older houses, they don't live in Warner Robins. Right. Some of them don't live in the state of Georgia. So, we just got to go after them.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's going to be sad that, hey, we're going to have to take your house. But matter of fact, there was a house on Lockwood. I cannot think of the address. It's across the street from one of my houses. Had been blighted for years. Nobody did nothing.
I'm familiar with Lockwood. That's right off of Greenbrier?
Right off of Greenbrier. So if you ride down Lockwood, you see where there's a house been tore down. It's an empty lot.
Really?
Yeah, the city actually did that. It was a long, drawn out process, but it got done. And see, that's the problem. We don't never start.
Right.
We got to start. We got to do it. The same thing with buying houses. A lot of people, they just afraid of, I don't know. Is it going to work out? Am I going to fail? Yeah, you probably are going to fail. But you're going to learn from your failure.
That's weird for that neighborhood, because that whole little area is not really bad. It's older Warner Robins, but I'm surprised that one of those houses on that street, because I didn't grow up over there, but I got a lot of my friends staying on that street, so I'm real familiar with Lockwood.
So let me tell you this. Some of the best houses that were ever built in the city of Warner Robins were built by a man named Bill Self. He built all those houses over there in Lockwood. What's that, Lake Vista? All those houses over there are some of the best built houses in Warner Robins. Yeah, you just got a person in there that, like I say, I want to say that person in that house, I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on it, but I want to say that person in the house was it was nobody living in the house, but the person that owned that house actually was in another state.
Okay.
And they just wasn't maintaining it. So the citizens, like you say, that's a well-respected area over there. The citizens got together and they kept complaining about it. Okay. To the point where the city had to do something about it.
Yeah. Right.
So, all right, we got a new mayor in.
Yeah.
And and I always I understand you were part of her support system. And I always joke with him. I was like, Larry, like the black David Axelrod. That's the guy that got Obama elected or whatever. He out here making moves, getting helping getting people in the position that they need to be in. Mm-hmm. But on a serious note, she's in the office now. Mm-hmm. We made some strides with her, and we here. So, what are your expectations of the mayor?
That's a good question. So let's say, number one, I didn't get her elected. She got herself elected.
True. Yeah,
that is 100% fact. She did her thing, and I am so proud of her and everything that she did. And I'm proud of everybody that put their name on the ballot.
And I will agree with you on that. And like I say, that's why I strongly meant that as in her support system.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, she did her thing. She was out in the streets, just really doing it.
She did it. Yep. So, I just expected her to be her. When I first met her, just her aura around her, you could tell that she really cared about what was going on in the street. She really cared about the people. She really cared about her community. So that's just what I expect from her. It's going to be a lot of bumps in the road for her. It's going to be a lot of people because, if you've seen some of the attack ads that came against her. So it's going to be people throwing rocks at her all day, all the time. But I think as long as she just holds true to who she is, and what she believes in, that we're going to be fine. She's just going to make the right decision. She's going to I know that she's going to help move the city forward and just make us a better place.
So what's the vibe like at City Hall now that she's in there?
So at first, man, it was a lot of people thought they was gonna lose their jobs and stuff like that.
Really?
So she actually had to go in there and let people know, no, I'm not that type of person. That's I'm not no vindictive person. I don't care about this whether you supported me or not. It's just a simple fact that you are Warner Robins,
right?
And I'm here to represent Warner Robinson and do what's best for Warner Robins. So my job is to do what's best for you. But it's getting better now. It's still some bumps.
Yeah. If you can talk about it, but certain people tend to quit when they find that they have to work under or for a person of color. And I've experienced it. I've been
woman.
I've been working in corporate space for a while, and I've seen it where as soon as a black or brown person, mainly black person, becomes some type of supervisor or manager, it's like, I'm going to put in the retirement papers. I can't work for him, And I've seen it where even to the point where when somebody came in that position, or when the person was qualified to get hired for the position, they dissolved the position. Like, we ain't gonna give it to you. We're just gonna get rid of the position. So, has any of that happened as far as people quitting? Like, can't work for her. Hey, like I say,
it's
all you got to say, no comment.
No, at the end of the day, it's public record. Yes, a lot of people have resigned and retired.
Yeah,
just the fact.
It happens.
And some people said the statement was made: if so and so don't win, and if LaRhonda wins, I'm gonna leave.
Right.
And they left.
Yeah.
So
that's how it is.
It's life.
I've been seeing it for like the last 15 some years.
You know what I say? Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Train, it's still going to keep moving.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Like they said, one monkey don't stop no show.
One monkey don't stop no show. Outkast had a album, right? Called that, right? Or a song or something.
Yeah, that song. Yeah, yes, sir.
Which I hate to say, that album, that was when they kind of
that was World. That was World Party.
World Party.
Yeah.
And then my boy CeeLo came back.
That's what we were talking about on the hip hop podcast. I said, I was telling him, I said, if it wasn't for CeeLo going solo, Goody Mob might have just dissolved and just went on out into the stratosphere. Nobody would ever seen him again. But CeeLo brought it back.
I don't know, real quick, not to change subject, but that last album was pretty dope.
Oh yeah, they're new one. Yeah. But how many years was that since World Party? World Party came out in 1999.
But they've come out with two after World Party, and then they just came out with that new one where they had 3 stacks on it. Came and showed out.
Oh yeah.
Matter of fact, they just did a show, and I was in Atlanta last weekend for the GMA. They was up there doing stuff. I think it was last weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've been doing a lot of touring and stuff too.
Yeah,
so,
they was in Perry one day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How I missed that?
Yeah. I saw somebody going live with it, and they was at like some kind of event center in Perry, and I'm like, what? Get them up in Perry, don't nobody know about it?
They was down there at the other end of the ag center, you know, that side that nobody goes in towards Go Fish.
Yeah.
You know that they were on that side over there.
They was in Macon one night. Yeah.
I would have been there.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
If I'd have known.
I had to go to work.
All right, so let's talk about something else. I always see you wearing a shirt that says this logo or whatever. So what's Closing the Gap? Explain that to us.
Oh, Closing the Gap, man. That's that business, man. That's that organization that's going out, not trying to reinvent the wheel,
right,
but bring people together. You know, a lot of times, a lot of organizations, we want to, we say we want to help, and most do, don't, yeah. But Closing the Gap actually goes into the communities. Instead of trying to bring these underprivileged, underserved kids to you that don't have transportation, that can't, do certain things, they actually go into the community where the children are and try to service them there. Also, it's not that we don't just focus on the children, we try to focus on the parents.
Right.
So we have classes, interviewing technique classes, financial classes, insurance classes. Everything that you need in order to survive in this world, we try to offer those services to people just to make our communities better. So, but Closing the Gap, Al Williams, worked at Flint. He's the president.
That's my boy.
He's the president. Miss Pam McKinney, she's the vice president.
Right.
So, yes, if there's anything you ever need, just always reach out to Closing the Gap because I'm pretty sure they can find some type of resources to help you. I know we just had an event, what was it, rental assistance. Where we brought all these people in and we helped them fill out the rental assistance program through DCA. That was a huge success.
Okay, you just recently also had a health fair as well, right?
Also had a health fair where we was partnered up with the Emerging 100
right,
and the Red Cross. So we had a health fair. We actually was did it to get the blood donation up for individuals that had sickle cell. Because a lot of time, every time they go to the hospital, they got to get a blood transfusion. So, and a lot of time, most of the people got sickle cell, they look like us.
Yep.
And we as Black people, we got that stigma where we just don't donate blood.
Right.
So we did that drive. That was a huge success. The Red Cross, they was so happy about what we did. But we actually gave out the vaccine shots that day. So it was a huge success, and I'm looking forward to doing it again. So.
Just a quick question also. You were talking about the classes that y'all teach and certain things. Is there a coding one too? Trying to help people start learning that coding because, a lot of the things are going towards that way these days.
I was just saying.
Oh, yeah, the future. Coding and learning how to use still basically the IT section because just the world, if you're not in the IT area somewhat in your life or in your brain somehow, you're just going to miss out on a lot.
Right. So one of the things that we do, so you got programming, you got computer programming, and you got coding.
Okay.
So we actually partner up with Warner Robins Learning Center, Mark Ivory, mad love Mark Ivory. But yeah, we partner up with him, and there's an after-school program that he does down at the Curtis Event Center where they actually teach coding.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Him and his wife, that's the organization that they just started, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And also we got another one called Pink STEM. With Tamika Head. Yeah. So actually one of the things that we're going to do starting in February, we're going to have a flight school. So we got some pilots coming down that's going to start teaching our children how to fly planes.
Oh, wow.
Starting
That's what's up.
The first week in February. So if y'all know any individuals age 8 to 18 that would be interested in learning how to fly a plane, please reach out to me.
That's like the age range of most of our friends, children and stuff like that. And plus everybody will see it right here. So, hey, y'all pay attention to that. Check in with us.
Yeah. So what's interesting is I noticed you really got a big heart and big investment in the youth. And so let's talk about Closing the Gap. And then there's another program or organization that you're part of. Me and you both are a part of it. Is the 100 Black Men.
Yes.
Shout out 100 Black Men.
Which is mentoring. So as far as your upbringing, what made you become so invested in the youth and mentorship and the investment of our children today?
So a lot of times people look at me and think that I got a lot. And I got to say, I do got a lot because God has truly blessed me.
Right.
But in the same sense, I didn't get it by myself. Somebody invested in me. Somebody said, hey, Larry, think about this, do this, check this out, try this. You know, so that's what we got to do. We got to instill that into our children because, you know, for long, I'm going to be gone. Our children are the future.
Yeah.
You know, our existence is going to be through our children. That's what I would say with the houses. It's not necessarily about me. It's about making a way for my sons and my daughters.
Right.
So they can continue to move forward. And, you know, I just believe that's the only way that we're going to survive.
Yeah.
You know, we are, what's that show called The Internals? We are immortal. We're immortal through our children.
Right,
So,
right. Yeah, and I think it's really important to leave something behind because it's one thing I always try to tell my son is when you're doing something, what kind of impact are you going to make on society once you're gone? You know, I always give him that analogy like we only really here for about good 80. You blessed for, in this generation, 85, you know,
Right.
just not living as long. But so when you think about it in a nutshell, that's not really a long time.
It's like my pops tells me a lot of times, you got to make your own name too in this world. Your name has to follow you, and then keep going on, and the legacy continues.
that's right.
Yeah. So as far as 100 Black Men, so how did you get involved in that?
Mr. Steve Williams, he reached out to us. They had I'm gonna say a recruitment event at Mr. Dunny Fletcher's house, and I just saw what he was doing, man, and it was amazing. I said, I gotta be a part of that. I gotta be a part of that. So I got in, put the boots on the ground, started doing the work, and they actually made me the vice president. After what 2 years?
2 years.
2 years in. Yeah. So I just love what they're doing, man. The mentorship, you know, it's something that I have been doing for so long. And I just had to be a part of it to help try to make that even better and expand it. You know, because it's a middle of Georgia thing. A lot of people when they see it, they just think about Macon, but it's not just Macon.
Right.
It's middle of Georgia, Jones County, Houston County. So
And it's the Middle Georgia chapter.
it's the middle of Georgia.
And I'm excited about it as well. So and my thing personally is I came in right at COVID. So everything was still virtual. Like I think a lot of the guys, they didn't even get to meet me. They didn't know who I was until I came to the Christmas party. So
Get King on in there.
yeah. So but I'm excited about especially when we can really get into, because I'm more hands-on and face to face, and I'll be glad when we can start getting these programs back to normal, how it was when I first started hearing about it, and then we can really start getting out there. Of course, we got the College Career Fest, and so
the 25th is the 25th anniversary is coming up too.
Our 25th anniversary, where we're going to be recognizing some of the founding members. But one of the things that I think a lot of people don't realize that I think that is very good is the Troop 100, our Boy Scout troop.
Yeah.
So, a lot of hands-on. So I'm looking forward to when we can get back to meeting in person with the children and doing things with them.
Okay.
Isn't it Troop 100? Aren't they? Aren't y'all trying to implement the drone program part?
Oh, yes. Yeah. So what's happening, they're actually going to partner up with Closing the Gap and through the Emerging, and they're going to buy, I want to say that they have already bought 3 drones. Closing the Gap is going to probably buy 4 more drones, and we're going to partner up and we're going to start flying the drones. But I want to say too that the Warner Robins Learning Center, they're actually flying drones now. One got crashed that we got to get fixed. But they're flying drones down at the Curtis Event Center in the evening. So
so let's go back a little bit to politics.
Okay.
All right. So explain to us how the city council works as far as how often do you run, and also explain to us what do we need to do to get people aware of those city council positions. We just had an interview or a podcast with Fanika Miller, and we were talking about the importance of voting, and what I experienced as far as paying attention was everybody wants to focus on the presidential race, and then we had these 2 people that nobody really didn't want to vote for it, but you had to vote for one, and it created a divide. But I think a lot of people, were forgetting about that, city council race, and that county clerk race, and of course the DA race, and the numbers are just not there. So the numbers are not matching what the community represents. And so how we change that?
So mad love to Fanika Miller. She's doing her thing. I really appreciate
Shout out to Fanika.
Yeah, shout out to Fanika Miller.
Everything that she's doing. I mean, you know, it's helping. It's making a big difference. But let me make this point right here. In the last city election, municipal race with LaRhonda, it was 38,539 people did not vote. 38,000. 20,796 were female, 17,697 were male. In your district, where you grew up at, 31093, your area code, right? Of those numbers, it was 10,249 people that didn't vote.
Wow.
So, I mean, we just gotta get the word out, man. We just got to get more involved. A lot of times, you know, there's more money put into the national elections. Like now, you know, November is going to be billions of dollars about to be spent. So, but you need to understand that it starts at home. It's the local election that affects you.
Right.
You know, the DA. You know, I hear a lot of people talking about, so, well, I'm not going to vote. I'm not going to vote. I mean, we got a nasty DA. Well, get rid of the DA. Not saying that the one we have now is nasty, but I hear those terms before. Go vote. Get them out of there. You know, get all your people together. You know, unite the people. Take them to the polls and say, hey, DA, you got to go.
Right.
You know? So everything starts at the local level. And once we get people to understand that, I think we'll be in a better place. But, you know, like we was talking earlier before we got on this, before we started, you know, I was in an area on Alabama Avenue where a young man just told me that he wasn't going to vote.
Right.
I sat there with him 20 minutes trying to explain the importance of why he needs to vote. You know?
But it is, and that's the problem with like you was talking about earlier, the mindset.
It's a mindset.
You know, a lot of people just feel like, well, what's the point of me going out to vote? It's not going to matter anyways. But if that one person says that they're not going to, then the next person, and that 2 adds up to 4, and then the 8, and so on and so forth. What if we reverse that, though? Do it the opposite way.
I know, right?
You know, hey, man, I'm going to vote. Oh, really? I haven't seen you do that before. I tell you what, won't you come with me?
Yes, amen.
And then so on and so forth to let the numbers add up. I just don't understand why people can't get that. Like, your voice matters. Your vote matters.
So one of the things that upsetted me during the last municipal election was when LaRhonda was running for mayor. You know, a lot of people was like, well, they going to vote. She don't have a chance. She's not going to win. It was sad. It was really sad. And I'm like, come on, man. Y'all got to do better than that. Then when she
flipped it on them.
Then when the before the runoff election, it was like so close, and she could have won. It was like everybody come back to me, like, man, Larry, I should have voted. I'm like, you should have voted.
It's one of those, it's just like one of those situations where like somebody giving out something and you didn't have the opportunity to go get it, and then when you show up with it, like, oh man, I should have got one of them. You know, they were giving them out. They were passing out iPads. now you want to run up there and be involved, and see, we got to change that mindset because, and I don't understand why people should have been rooting for that in the very beginning. And I noticed that in the very beginning where it was a lot of little talk. But then right during that runoff, when everybody seen like she could win, now everybody
want to be
on the bandwagon. Everybody wearing LaRhonda Patrick buttons. You know, like, oh man. I'm glad they came out the second time, but still.
Didn't y'all have her on the podcast? Like, yeah, we sure did.
We could have avoided that whole second election.
Oh yeah,
that made that had everybody's anxiety up because it was still kind of like, oof.
But truth be told, though, like you were saying, at first when she started, we should have jumped on it from the beginning. Yeah. But what we were hearing more than saying, oh man, this girl has a chance to probably be the first black female mayor of Warner Robins. Period. That's all anybody should have been saying. But they were saying, well, I don't know if she gonna be able to get old Toms out of there. Yeah. She's young. Yeah. She, they ain't never elected no black person. And it's like, okay, why don't we start changing the mindset once again? It's a first time for everything.
She's inexperienced. The thing that her, she was inexperienced. She don't know. She's gonna be radical. You know, it's just those talking points. I ain't gonna call out no party, but those talking points that people
the police,
defund the police.
Oh yeah.
It was just crazy. Because if you think about it, I go back to Chuck Shaheen. What was he before he was a mayor? I mean, before he was the mayor, even Tom's, he was a firefighter. He had no experience.
Right.
He had nothing.
Like the chaplain or something.
Right. So, I mean, you talking about a young lady with a law degree that worked at the state level, that's worked at the federal level.
Exactly.
How you gonna say she's not qualified?
Exactly.
And y'all elected a fireman.
Yeah. She's more qualified than anybody. You know, it's so funny how all these lawsuits came up. It just so happened at the time, and they, oh my gosh, how are we going to take care of this? Well, I tell you what, at least you have a mayor who can sit down and say, you know what, this is how we should attack it first, because I have a history and a background in dealing with things like this on a higher level than this local area here. So help me to help you.
Right.
So we can help each other, you know.
Exactly.
And I just don't understand why people don't see it like that.
But we just, we just got to do better. We just got to do better. We gotta change the culture of that voting, you know, especially on the local elections. You know, I can sort of understand why people say that, well, our vote don't count because of and this is something I remember writing a paper on this in a college in my political science classes, the electoral college. You know, so that's why people say our votes don't count. But that's not necessarily true either.
Right.
Because there's been many times where we had a presidential election, and I think it was, y'all help me out. I can't remember. But was it one of the popular votes, but he didn't win the electoral votes? Who was that?
That what's your boy that beat out Bush? I mean that Bush beat no.
Well, that happened. That
happened with Hillary Clinton too.
That happened with Hillary. But it happened first with
Hillary won. No, Hillary won the popular votes,
right?
But
the electoral college.
Yeah.
But who was the guy? Was it Gore?
It was Gore. I want to say Gore was.
Yeah, because I remember I was in the service when that happened, when Bush got elected, and I remember Gore was supposed to, like, we just knew it was going to happen.
Votes, yeah.
Right, but you know what stole that election was the military.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying, because when he said, oh, we're about to pay everybody in the military more money. Man, where's my ballot?
Sound like old Tricky did. Tricky did gave the federal employees the biggest raise they ever had. So
that's one thing about life I did. I tell people about, like, I'm gonna tell you something. I voted for Bush. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But that's what we got to do. We got to change that way of thinking. Hey, it starts at home, and we need to address the issues at home.
Just to touch on another subject, just kind of changing the channel a little bit. You work on Robbins Air Force Base.
I do.
Lead equipment specialist.
Yes. Y'all doing y'all research. How y'all know that?
I saw that while doing my research, I saw that you also want Robbins Air Force Base to be helped. Now, when I was reading it, I didn't understand what you meant, and I wanted to ask you, could you further expound upon that? Like, how can we help Robbins Air Force Base?
So, about being in the military, you understand what BRAC is. So, they closed down the base in San Antonio,
right.
Sacramento.
Yeah.
And, at one time, we always wanted to keep Robbins off of that list.
Yes.
Because Robbins has, like $1 billion impact on the central Georgia. The state
economy.
$1 billion.
Also, the second largest logistic base in the country?
No, third behind Vandenberg, because I was stationed at Vandenberg, and Robbins was always right behind them.
So, Vandenberg is a logistic base now? I thought we only had only 3 LLC.
You're right. Never mind. Yeah. You said the word you used, logistics.
Yeah.
He hit me with that keyword. Right, logistics. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that second. Yeah.
So, but and it goes back to what I said in the beginning. We need to clean up Warner Robins. You think about it. Robbins Air Force Base comes down to 247.
Yeah.
Right.
And what's right across the street?
That's right. That's
First thing they see.
That's old Warner Robins.
Front Street.
The front street. Well, they call it Armed Force Boulevard now. But you got Watson Boulevard. You got Green Street. You got Alberta. North Davis. Those the first things that people see. And if they want to go anywhere into the city, they got to come down those streets.
Right.
So we need to clean it up. You think about when Brad come in, they look at stuff like that. It's like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
The other thing that we need to do for the base is we need to have more workforce housing.
Right.
A lot of people that work on base, they can't afford to live in Warner Robins. Right. The rent is too high.
Right.
So they're going into those little counties around us and living in those places.
Yeah, but don't they get a stipend though? Don't they get housing?
But see, here in Warner Robins, that BAH and that BAS and all of that they get, it's not enough to afford the housing. So like what he's saying, when I was stationed out at Vandenberg, those houses that you're speaking of, those were put out for the airmen and everything like that. We were able to actually go off the base, go a mile or two down the street, and it was houses for.
Right.
It was there. It wasn't like oh my gosh, what am I going to do? It's just when you got there, you knew that house was going to be there if you needed to move into housing one day. Because pretty much once you made senior airman, you're moving off the base. But they provide that housing for you instead of you having to go get an apartment or something like that. And you're still close enough to the base where if an emergency comes, you can come be on duty.
That's right.
Quickly. I mean, it's a logistics thing, and when it comes down to it at the end of the day.
That's right.
You know, so that's a good point. I don't understand why and is that something else that the city government can help to implement for the base? I mean, how do y'all interact with that?
So I'm gonna say this about that. It's a lawsuit going on. About that. So we're gonna talk about we ain't gonna talk about that too much more. But yeah, there's something that we can do. We can try to ensure we can entice developers to come here to build workforce houses and stuff like that.
Right.
Them. But the other thing that we need to do is a smart city. We need to become a smart city for the base.
It's 2022.
I know, right? We actually had the opportunity to be probably one of the second smart city in the state of Georgia. But you know, there's a lawsuit about that too right now. But imagine the possibilities that we could do if we became a smart city. And, you know, the engineer facilities on the base actually contracted with the Wayne Lowe Innovation Center across the street.
Okay.
So a lot of engineers that's in the Air Force, military, they're actually working over there on at the Wayne Lowe Innovation Center.
Right.
Things on Booth Road. So if we had fiber going down there, imagine that. If we had fiber, we got fiber in the ground, but you know, it needs to be, the term that most people use is turned on.
Right.
But
because
it needs to be utilized.
Wasn't the military also trying to take that building right there in the corner of not Booth Road, but what's the one up from Booth, where the church is on that corner? What's the name of that road?
That's First Baptist on the corner.
Yeah, I know. What's the name of that road right there?
Baptist.
Wellborn.
Wellborn.
Right.
You know that building that's on the corner of ASA? Now, I heard at one time, it's that big glass building, and it's just been shut down for like last few years. And I heard that the military was in talks.
You're talking about on the other side.
Right, across the street. Across the street. But it's on that corner of Russell and Wellborn.
Yeah, I think it was a contractor that was in that building that was contracted with the base, and I don't know if they was able to renew their contract. So,
okay.
Yeah. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, somebody else was looking about moving in there. I can't remember who it was.
But you know what's so funny when you were talking about living in certain areas in real estate? If you go 100 feet behind that building, though, what's down there? You know, it's blight. And what's the name of that road? I can't think of it right now. But it's just a bad, if you go in between from that building down to it before you hit Booth Road, it's actually not a good look.
You ever been to the trailer park back there?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what we're getting at.
That's what. Yeah. You know, it's on one street and then you got another on the next street. You know, that comes around, and I'm like, it's not a. You got that little store that's down there, and they keep gates and bars and stuff up on it at all times, 24/7. I'm like, man, that's not good. The base is literally not even 5 minutes.
Right.
That's 30 seconds in a car from right there.
So we got to do that streetscapes. We got to do beautification. We got to make it look more presentable for people when they come off their base and say, hey, this is a nice city. The first thing when you come off, you see abandoned buildings, liquor stores, you know. I'm tired of liquor stores, but
They everywhere.
That's just my personal thing.
Yeah.
But
well, you should be something talked about, you know, because what community do they end up in?
They end up in our community.
Yeah, exactly.
They end up in the black communities. So that's something that we as a people need to address.
Well, I noticed a lot of churches are getting involved. So like this time, a lot of churches got involved into an election, but or supporting it. So speaking on one of them, like Pastor Curvin, I think he did a good job with slowly beautifying Jodytown. You know, so there is a little bit of repair to Jodytown, and you know, of course, that's one of the first neighborhoods that you see. But I do agree with you as far as because that could be some nice housing over there for the military base when they come over there. You know, Fifth Ward, you know, Fifth Street.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. New Orleans, New Orleans.
But the Fifth Street, 4th Street, 2nd Street, and all that. And so, but yeah, that would be a good area. So I know he has, you know, done a lot with Jodytown. So I do see where the initiative of beautifying Warner Robins in that front area, because you know we got that nice complex now with the police department, right across the street. So that's a start. You know, it looked good. So
but that's the only area they focused on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. It's been talked about for years. I'm just ready to see the work done.
It's just like you said. I was doing research. You said, let's stop talking about it.
Let's be about it.
Be about it. Yeah.
That's right.
You know.
Yeah. And like you say, you know, they've been talking about we've been talking about commercial ever since I was, 12, 13 years.
Oh, yeah.
And nothing changed. I was over there yesterday at that, what's it called? Still, the little West End frames in the little bar over there.
Oh, the new one that they just put up. I can't remember the name of it, but
it's Calmer. Oh my goodness!
I had a buddy say him and his wife go there every now and then.
Yeah, so I was over there with my cousin last night. He wanted to get a drink, so I told him I'd drive him over there to get a drink or whatever. So we was over there just chilling, hanging out, and just talking to the people in there. And they was talking about in the commercial circle. They was talking about how some of the buildings over there got black mold on it. That's owned by the city.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a disgrace.
It is.
We got to start doing something.
Yeah.
So, and you got McCall's over there in the corner.
Yeah.
You know, and then that abandoned building behind McCall's.
Oh yeah.
It's all right.
So, my bad.
That's all right. Yeah, we actually had that discussion with one of the candidates that was running for the mayor's race, and so we talked about that as far as, you know, is that city part of the city forgotten because everybody's moving out there to 96, and Kathleen is the new Warner Robins, and so people are only focusing on just keeping that area up, you know. So, you know, what's your opinion on that? That it just may be forgotten, and then this is where Warner Robins is transitioning.
I think that a lot of times, people, they just like new. Yeah. When they see something new and flashy and shiny, they're attracted to it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I know y'all watch those remodeling shows on TV.
Oh, yeah.
We come in, we can fix our houses up, we can fix our buildings up, we can make them new and shiny, look new and shiny too. And the infrastructure is already here for us out there. It costs a whole lot more to go further out and further out because we have to put sewer out there. And, you know, right now, our sewer capacity is pretty much reaching its max. So that's why we have to upgrade our sewer. So, you know, a lot of those, in my personal opinion, you know, a lot of that growth is going to have to slow down. One thing I do believe in, I believe in growth, but I believe in controlled growth.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's just like cancer. You know what I'm saying? It just grow out of control. It could be dangerous.
Yeah, it's true.
So, but the infrastructure, everything's there for the revitalization of the north side of town. You know, and I don't like to use the term north side of town. Unless I'm talking about north side of Warner Robins.
Right.
High school.
Right.
But, you know, old Warner Robins, I refer to it as old Warner Robins.
Right.
The infrastructure's there, everything's there. It's just a matter of going there and just, you know, building it back up.
And I feel you. I like the way you're changing that narrative on that because, you know, when people start now saying the north side of town, you know, it's got that bad stigma now, which I hate, you know, because I tell people like, this is where I'm from or whatever, and they're like, oh, you grew up over there?
You're like, I did.
Man,
like when we was growing up in the 80s, it wasn't like how it is right now in 2022.
But I don't see it that bad. They, you know, people's reaction is like I grew up in Compton or something, you know, and it's like, I mean, it's just Warner Robins.
Well, but
it's just Warner Robins.
You got to think what it is. A lot of these people, like we were just talking about yesterday on the podcast, the diversity that we used to have back in the day in the 80s and 90s isn't like how it used to be. So now when people are coming in, they're seeing one thing. They're separate. It's black and white now.
It's black and white. That's right.
It's not like how it used to be. So I think that's what it is, BK, is that they're coming in. They clearly see the cutoff line. Boop, you come across Watson on this side. Then you're on North House the road. And then, oh, wow, I don't want to be over here. That's how most people, that's how a lot of them see it.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation. That's called white flight. Just to be honest.
Yeah, but see,
and then you got people that's trying to control the narrative. I'll never forget, a lot of times people don't know that I was on Darren Lee campaign. I was just assistant campaign manager. And he was running against this dude, and the dude went over there. I never forget this, man. He went over there to Ignico, and he went on a Facebook Live talking about how he wanted to rewrite the story. No. You're not going to rewrite our story. Right. You're not going to change the narrative. You know what I'm saying? We're going to tell our story, and we're going to make our community better. You're not going to rewrite our story. But that's the biggest thing. People are trying to change the narrative. North side is the black side of town. It's the bad side of town.
Yeah.
We got to combat that. We got to say, hey, no, look, I personally would never leave the north side of town. I'm not going to move out to 96 or whatever. I'm going to always stay on the north side of town as long as there's breath in my life.
I understand that. Shout out North.
Shout out to the North. I'm sorry, man. We just can't shout out the South Side like that. I don't know, man. Nah, seriously, shout out to them boys because you know what? They got a good coach. They doing their thing.
Won a championship.
Championship. So, I support them because you know what I support most of all is my city.
Oh, yeah. Facts. Big facts.
We'll Joan and we'll go back and forth on Facebook, during that critical time and that critical season, and we'll be back, because let's keep it real. Y'all, it's like now we do it, we split it. Y'all get y'all 5 years, we get our 5 years.
Yeah.
Right now you in your season. Warner Robins in their season. So we'll be back.
We coming.
Yeah, I'm gonna need y'all to catch up on the basketball court though.
Oh, no, don't even get
Hey, Jamal got that on lock.
Facts.
That's a wrap.
They still undefeated in the region, right?
Yeah.
And the women too.
Yes.
I don't talk about basketball. I ain't got nothing to do with basketball at Northside. I was a baller. I'm a Northside vet, but nah.
It's the craziest thing.
Garmin got that on lock.
Oh yeah.
I don't.
What?
I don't know. I would think you'd be into basketball way more than you are.
No, it's just that. I still go to the high school games, and pre-COVID, I will still go to. I even go to the middle school games. I still used to go. My old coach, Coach King, I used to still go to the middle school games and go to the high school games, and I'm big on local sports as far as especially when it comes to basketball. But you got to let's keep it real. Like Northside was never a basketball school.
Powerhouse.
It never was Warner Robins as a whole until Garmin came and made it a basketball town because it kind of is a basketball and football town. Yeah. People are actually like looking now. So, but we coming up on the end of the podcast. And so at the end of each podcast, we do this thing called 5 words. So J. Steve here is going to give you one word, and you try to respond with one answer or your best answer.
Okay.
Yeah, and I will tell you if you take too long, I will drop them crickets on you. All right. So what you got, J. Steve?
All right. For the 5 words, Mr. Larry Curtis Jr. Closing the gap.
Dedicated.
Investing.
Always.
Community.
My life.
Robins Air Force Base.
Provider for the community.
City Council.
My job.
All right, there it is. 5 words for today.
All right. There you go. Give it up for Larry Curtis one time. All right. All right, so once again, we definitely appreciate you checking in with us and listening to the Soul Fresh podcast with our guest today, which was Larry Curtis, City Councilman of Warner Robins, Georgia. And also, before we end, we want to go ahead and give a shout out to No Cap Custom Shirts.
Cap.
He's the one that provided us our shirts, and so go ahead and give a shout out to Archie Thomas.
Yeah,
No Cap
shout out Archie.
Yeah. So give a shout out to him real quick. So, and also before we end, let's handle a little business. What we need you to do is go ahead and hit that like button, head to YouTube, subscribe to the channel. You can find it. Don't even need to put it up on the screen. It's real simple. The Soul Fresh Podcast. Google it or just go on YouTube, type it in. It's going to come up. But what we need you to do is handle that business, like the page, hit the notification so you get alerted when we post new content.
Yes, sir.
But most importantly, hit that subscribe button. That's all.
That's all.
So,
and guess what? It don't cost them.
It don't cost nothing.
Nothing.
Zero.
Zilch.
So
Nada.
I'm your host, BK.
And I'm your host, J. Steve.
Peace.
All right, so family, hey, look, this Larry Curtis from down here at the Curtis Event Center. I need y'all to come check me out, show me some love. But one of the main things I want to talk about is an event coming up Juneteenth. Closing the Gap is hosting a parade. So I'm encouraging everybody to come out on June the 18th. Come out, support the parade. And we're also going to have a Juneteenth Freedom Banquet that's going to consist of Garrett Williams from the Boy Scouts. It's going to be Tommy Deutsch for the national president of the 100 Black Men of America, and the newly elected Madam Mayor LaRhonda Patrick. So please come out, look out for that information. It'll be out there soon. Come out and support. Thank you.
Thank you for checking out another episode of the Soul Fresh Podcast. If you want to catch the audio version, make sure you go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you want to check out the video version, make sure you head on over to YouTube. And when you get there, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and go ahead and turn on that notification bell. And in the meantime, until the next time, keep it 100, be blessed.